If you have any questions, let me know. For those of you sitting in the front row, you are perfectly safe, I promise. We've got a wonderful ambassador coming out here today. I bet a few of you can see her already. Can you see her over there? What kind of animal do you see?
Adorable.
An adorable one, absolutely correct on that one. She's a porcupine. I heard a few people say that. She's a porcupine.
Gracie.
Did you guys know that there are over 20 species of porcupines around the world? Yeah, a few of you did, a few of you didn't. So this is one of over 20 species of porcupines. The one thing they all have in common is they're rodents. But that falls into a lot of categories as well. The other thing they all have in common is they are covered in quills. The number of quills is different per species, but the coloration is pretty much consistent. They are all black and white coloration of quills. Their quills are designed as a safety mechanism, so if a predator gets too close to them, if a predator were to swat at them or try to grab them, the porcupine's quills are designed to drop from their body and stay with the predator's body. So you might get a handful or a clawful or a faceful of quills that are sharp and embedded in the skin. We as humans are really fortunate because we have opposable thumbs, so if we were to get a quill into our flesh, we can grab it and pull it out. Most animals cannot do that. They brush it against things, they brush their face against things, usually pushes the quills further into the flesh rather than taking them out. So quills can be a very wonderful defense mechanism. Not only does it scare the predator away initially, but it can often cause that predator to get an infection later on in life and cause it more problems for itself. So it's a great mechanism for protecting them short and long term from predators. Gracie here, I don't think I mentioned her name. Gracie here is a South American porcupine, also known as a Brazilian tree porcupine. And given her name, where do you think she would natively be found?
Africa.
Africa is a really good guess, but not quite. She's a Brazilian tree porcupine. Where do you think she'd be found? Brazil and the Amazon, absolutely. So she is known as a New World porcupine. New World porcupines are found from North and South America. Old World porcupines are found on all the other continents, minus Antarctica. There are no porcupines on Antarctica that we have ever seen before. But you never know, right? We haven't seen the whole place. But she is a Brazilian tree porcupine. And the ones in Africa usually look a little bit different because the ones in Africa are usually found on the ground. They are usually much larger in size. They often have quills that are much larger in size. And if you saw one of them in a tree, you should be very concerned for a lot of reasons. But Gracie here spends almost all of her time up in a tree, and she has several adaptations that help her. Does anybody see an adaptation that Gracie has that would help her live in the trees? Yeah.
Her tail, because it helps her balance, and if she falls, then she could hang from it.
Absolutely. Her tail is a great adaptation. It helps her balance, it helps her climb, and it is a fully prehensile tail, which means she can actually hang her entire body from that tail if she wants to. So she could reach across to grab something further away with that extra appendage. She could hang down from a tree to grab something below her. So it gives her a lot more mobility as she's climbing through the trees. Yes?
She said, why does she live on a tree?
Why does she live on a tree? That is such a great question. So she has big predators. Things that live in the Amazon are things like ocelots, jaguars. There are also crocodiles, I believe, down there. Not alligators, but crocodiles. Mitch is ignoring me. So there are a lot of predators on the ground that she doesn't want to interact with. Jaguars and ocelots can definitely climb trees. They are cats, but she spends a lot of her time really high up in the trees because she doesn't weigh as much as a cat, a jaguar, an ocelot. So she can spend her time up in the high treetops avoiding all of those predators. So it's a really easy spot for her to stay safe. The other reason she stays so high up in a tree is because she is an herbivore. Anybody know what that one means? Yeah.
It means she only eats plants.
She only eats plants, absolutely. You know all of the answers, huh? You should just come on up here and take my place.
Yeah, I learned a lot of facts because I studied dinosaurs for a while, and I know a lot of other facts about animals.
Wonderful, that's amazing. So she's an herbivore. She eats plant material. If you live in the rainforest and you're up in the tops of the trees, that's where the freshest fruit, vegetables, greens all grow. The first part of the tree to grow is up high,
Porcupine
and
booty.
then that all will fall down eventually down the tree. So she's getting the first pick of all of the fresh growth, and that's what she wants to eat the most of. She can eat pretty much any plant material, but she wants that fresh stuff. That's what she really wants. And then she's also known as a drop feeder, which some of you have probably seen. She's already made a little bit of a mess over here. Porcupines, as they eat, well, specifically the prehensile tail porcupine, will eat what they want of those freshest growth, and then they'll drop the rest of it. There are so many animals that live in the rainforest that want all of those fresh growth, all of those nuts, all of those fruits, all of those flowers, but they can't reach them because they're small and they live on the ground. But as Gracie's eating, she's like, that's enough of that. Drop. She'll probably do it right here. Drop, just like that. Thank you, Gracie. So by doing that, she's providing food to all of the animals that live on the forest floor below her. So it's a really important niche that she fills for other animals that live around her. Now, Gracie is actually one of my favorite animals to talk about because she is part of our species survival plan. Any of you guys ever heard of that? A few of you, wonderful. So the species survival plan is kind of like a dating website for animals, specifically animals in a zoologic setting. We want there to be a wide variety of animals in a zoologic facility that can breed and represent their species out in the wild. So Gracie moved here from Tennessee to meet our male prehensile tail porcupine. His name is Picante. And the two of them hit it off right away and were very successful in having their first baby. It was the first prehensile tail porcupine ever born here at the San Diego Zoo. It was super, super exciting and ridiculously cute. The couple things you want to know about this. Porcupines like this give birth in a tree. So crazy, I thought they'd go down to the ground to give birth. Nope. She actually gave birth in a tree right here in this building. And that tree was about my head height. So you could walk under the porcupine, who is bright orange. Doesn't look like her at all, bright orange. So she gives birth, and then what happens is mom will actually leave baby to go forage for food and clean herself up. There's a lot of smells in the birthing process and a lot of predators that might find them. So by separating herself, she's hopefully giving both of them a chance to survive that first day from predators. So Gracie did exactly that. She gave birth and walked away from that baby for almost an entire day. It is very nerve-wracking to be here, you guys, but that is what they naturally do. So we watched, and Gracie returned to this little guy, and she actually tried to get him to nurse. And it was so cute because baby porcupines are born so precocial. They're so adaptable and able to move right from birth. So he was already picking up and moving around on this above my head, trying to find her mammary gland so that he could get milk from mom. And he tried, and they just couldn't get in the right position. And he tried a little bit more, and they still couldn't get in the right position. We let them try for almost a whole day before our NACU team, our neonatal assistant care unit, stepped in and said, you know what? We're going to give him a little bit of supplemental milk and make sure he's getting the nutrition he needs, and then we'll see how it goes. So we were able to keep Gracie safe, take baby away from her for just a little bit, get him some milk, and then we were able to put them back together, and Gracie had no problems with us borrowing him. He was able to get the nutrition he needed. We were able to get weights and measurements on this porcupine that we have never had born here at the zoo before. So we have all of this information now about this baby porcupine and how they grow and the stages they go through. But we were also able to introduce him back to Gracie, and eventually they were able to figure out nursing. So we were able to help hold baby up to Gracie, and he was able to latch on and get milk from her. Not enough, he was still getting supplemental bottles from our NACU team, but they were able to be reintroduced, so she was able to get him some milk and go through that process. We are hoping that she will have another baby. It's the goal. She is back with her boyfriend. And we are hoping that we will see all of those maternal instincts exactly the same, and she will be very successful at raising a second baby all on her own. And we will have all of the knowledge to watch that growth trend as it happens naturally. So it's a very exciting time to be here, and it's a very fun example of an ambassador and how we can learn from them. All right, question.
So if they give birth in a tree, and so trees aren't usually like your height, they're usually tall. What if the baby just fall and like die?
That is such a great question. Wouldn't the baby porcupine who's born in a tree way up higher than my head fall out of the tree? So many babies, human babies especially, are born pretty incapable of doing anything, right? They can't even hold their heads up. Some animals, like the porcupine, like sloths, are born, it's called precocial. It means they're well developed and they're able to do all kinds of things at birth. So they are already able to hold on to a branch, which is the porcupine's case, or in a sloth's case, hold on to mom's hair, and they are strong enough to hold themselves in place from the moment of birth. It's super crazy to think about that they would be that well developed, but it is a natural adaptation for them to be able to survive living in that tree all the way up high above the rainforest. So a great question. Now I mentioned that he came out orange, our little baby Paquito. He came out orange. If you can imagine, I'm sure all of you can imagine, you would not want to give a birth to a baby covered in quills. Very uncomfortable. So they actually grow hair initially, and that's all quills are, is just modified hairs. They are born with orange fur. It kind of helps camouflage them into the rainforest areas, the barks of the trees. And then over the next probably 3 months, their quills start to grow in. And it is the most adorable change. He looks like a little Pokemon that has like shifted from one form to another. He starts growing in little bits of quills, but he's still got a lot of orange on him. And by about 5 months, all of the orange is gone, and he is covered in these quills. This species has about 10,000 quills covering their body. So they grow in really, really fun and cute in little patches. Let's see, I could keep talking, but do you guys have any other questions before I do? Yes?
Do they have opposable thumbs?
Ooh, that's a great question. Do they have opposable thumbs? The answer is no, but they do have little rodent hands, and they're very good and comfortable at holding their food like many rodents do. They hold their food up to their mouth while they're chewing on it. Excellent questions. Yeah.
Are they like a nice, clean animal that you'd love to be cuddle with, or?
Are they a nice, clean animal that would be good to cuddle with? Well, first of all, no, because they're covered in quills. Any animal covered in quills is probably not super cuddly. But also, porcupines in general are not very clean. They don't groom themselves either, because you could imagine they can quill themselves. There's no thing stopping them from quilling themselves. I've actually seen Gracie quill herself and get a quill in her hand. We had to pull it out for her. So there is nothing from stopping her from quilling herself. So she's not going to do a lot of self-grooming. When she gets introduced to her boyfriend, you guys can probably look at her and guess. What do you think they use to communicate with each other more than anything else?
Quills. Or nose?
Her sense of smell. So they can smell each other more than anything. Rodents have really poor eyesight. She's got that huge nose, so she can smell really well. So when they're close by each other, they will pee on things, and that allows them to know that she's available. She knows that he's close by. And then when they actually come together, this is super, super gross, he will pee on her. Yeah, kind of takes the claim of like, she's mine. Super gross. So, she doesn't groom herself, he just peed on her. Do not cuddle with this animal, they are super gross. But that goes for a lot of animals. A lot of animals don't want to groom themselves too much. They want to smell like their natural environment. If they're too clean, predators are going to be like, oh, I smell a clean animal over there. So it helps them blend into their environment even a little bit more. But you can maybe even see glimpses. There's a lot of yellowy, waxy underneath all of her quills. That is the waxy stuff that's gross, is covered in germs. Also leading to, if a predator gets quills inside of their flesh, leads to that infection even more because they're not a clean animal. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking for now. Gracie looks like she might be headed home here. If you have any leftover questions, I'm gonna hang out for a little bit. I'd be happy to help answer them. I hope you enjoyed our time here, learned a little bit about this ambassador, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day here at the zoo.
Thank you.
Thank you.